You weren't born into wealth. You were born at the foot of a sleeping monster. East Java, Indonesia, Mount Ijen. They call it a natural wonder. For tourists, it is a beautiful Instagram post with a rare blue fire. For you, it is a daily descent into hell. Your alarm rings at 1 a.m. It is pitch black outside. You don't put on a suit and tie. You wrap a piece of dirty, wet cloth around your neck. This is your only protective gear. Your office? The glowing crater of an active volcano. Your salary? $15 a day, if you survive. You are a sulfur miner, breathing liquid fire for a handful of cash. The worst job in the world isn't an exaggeration. It is your brutal reality. The mountain doesn't care about your resume. It only cares about how much pain your lungs can take before you start coughing up blood. You step out into the freezing night. The hike to the crater rim takes 2 hours, and that is just your daily commute. You look up at the smoking peak. It is waiting to burn you from the inside out. Ready to clock in? The climb up the mountain is pitch black. 2 miles of steep, rocky paths. Tourists pass you wearing expensive Gore-Tex jackets and $200 hiking boots. They chatter excitedly about the views. You are silent. You need every ounce of breath just to keep your heart pumping. Your cheap rubber boots have zero grip on the slippery dust. The temperature drops to near freezing, but your thin shirt is already soaked in sweat. Then, the air changes. The fresh night breeze turns foul. A dense smell of rotten eggs punches you in the throat. Hydrogen sulfide. Nature's ultimate warning sign that you are entering a hostile zone. You finally reach the crater lip and look down into the abyss. At the bottom is a surreal, hypnotic glow. The famous blue fire. It looks like magic for the Instagram feeds, but it's not. It is highly toxic burning sulfur gas, reaching temperatures of over 1,000 degrees Fahrenheit. The tourists take their selfies and hike back to a warm bed. You don't have that luxury. Your shift is just starting. The real nightmare is down below, waiting for you in the thick, glowing fog. The descent into the belly of the beast begins now. The descent is a suicide mission down a vertical cliff, a narrow, crumbling path made of loose rocks and ash. One wrong step in the dark, and you fall into the abyss. There are no handrails here, no safety ropes, just gravity and fear. You look down. At the bottom of the crater sits a massive lake. It looks beautiful, a perfect turquoise blue. But it's a death trap. That lake is pure sulfuric acid. It has a pH of nearly 0. It can dissolve metal in minutes. If you fall in, your flesh melts before you even have time to scream. As you go deeper, the toxic cloud gets thicker. The tourists above are wearing heavy-duty respirators with double filters. You pull out a dirty, wet piece of cloth and bite down on it. This is your gas mask. This is all you have between your fragile lungs and the corrosive gas. The smoke burns your eyes. Tears stream down your face, mixing with the sulfur dust to create mild acid right on your skin. But you can't wipe them. You have to keep climbing down. The deeper you go, the hotter the rocks become. You are literally stepping into a boiling oven. You finally reach the crater floor. Welcome to the extraction zone. The noise here is deafening. It sounds like a jet engine roaring inside a cave. That is the sound of high-pressure toxic gas screaming out of the Earth's crust. Miners have jammed ceramic pipes into the vents to catch the fumes. The gas hits the cool air, condenses into a blood-red liquid, and drips out. As it cools, it hardens into bright yellow chunks. The devil's gold. Sulfur. This is what you came for. Your tool of the trade? Not a modern drill, not dynamite. Just a heavy, rusted steel crowbar. You step right up to the hissing pipes. The heat radiating off the rocks is unbearable, baking your skin like a cracked desert. You grip the cold steel and swing. Smash. The yellow rock splinters. Sharp shards of sulfur fly into your face, cutting your cheeks. You swing again and again, putting your entire spine into the impact. Your shoulders scream. You need to break off 90 kilograms of this poison. But then, the wind shifts. A massive, thick cloud of raw sulfur dioxide gas rolls straight toward you like a tidal wave. You can't run. You are swallowed alive. The gas cloud hits you. Total blindness. You can't even see your own hands. The wet rag in your mouth is completely useless. Sulfur dioxide is heavier than air. It sinks deep into your lungs and mixes with the moisture inside. It literally turns into sulfuric acid right inside your chest. Every single breath feels like swallowing broken glass and boiling battery acid. Your throat swells up in a panic. You drop your steel crowbar and fall to your knees on the jagged rocks. Your body violently rejects the air. You start dry heaving. You cough so hard that you taste warm, fresh blood on your tongue. This is the exact moment any normal person would quit. Any sane human would drop everything, scream for help, and scramble up that cliff to survive. But you don't. You can't. If you drop your tools and run, your family doesn't eat tomorrow. You squeeze your eyes shut, acid tears burning your cheeks, and just pray for the wind to shift. Your lungs are screaming for oxygen, but you are forced to give them poison. You are suffocating for pennies. And the craziest part? The hardest work hasn't even started yet. The wind finally breaks. The yellow fog rolls back just enough for you to open your bloodshot eyes. You wipe the bloody saliva from your chin and grab the crowbar again. Time is money. You start throwing the massive sulfur chunks into 2 woven bamboo baskets. This is your pikulan. There are no wheels down here, no pulleys, no donkeys to carry this burden. You are the beast of burden. You pack the rocks in tight, 50 pounds, 100 pounds. You don't stop until both baskets are overflowing with yellow poison. 200 pounds in total, 90 kilograms of solid rock. For a guy who barely weighs 130 pounds, this is a death sentence. You crouch down and slide your bare shoulder under the smooth bamboo pole connecting the 2 baskets. This piece of wood is stained with sweat and blood. It has a permanent curve from years of crushing human bone. You take a deep, jagged breath, clench your teeth, and push up from your knees. The bamboo flexes. The weight hits your spine like a sledgehammer. Your skin screams as the wood grinds directly into your collarbone. You are pinned to the earth by sheer gravity. And now, you have to climb straight up out of hell. You take your first step up the crater wall. The angle is a brutal 45 degrees. Every time you plant your cheap rubber boot, the gravel slides out from under you. You are carrying almost twice your body weight on a single piece of bamboo. The pole bounces with every step. Creak, creak. That is not just the wood. That is the sound of your own vertebrae grinding together under the massive load. Your shoulder skin has turned into a thick, calloused pad of dead flesh over the years, but it still bleeds. You use a rhythmic breathing technique just to keep from blacking out. Step, breathe. Step, breathe. The acid gas is still chasing you up the slope. You can't stop to rest. If you put the heavy baskets down on this steep incline, getting them back up might be impossible. Tourists start passing you on their way down. They snap photos of your suffering with $1,000 iPhones. To them, you are a gritty National Geographic cover, a perfect exotic background. To you, every step is a battle against gravity and a failing heart. Your legs are shaking uncontrollably. Lactic acid is flooding your thighs like fire. You are only halfway up the crater wall. And then, your left knee pops. Snap. A sharp electric shock shoots up your left thigh. Your knee buckles under the 200 pounds of yellow rock. Time freezes. If you fall backward, the heavy bamboo baskets will drag you down the jagged cliff. A sheer drop into the boiling acid lake below. You dig your cheap rubber boot into the loose ash, gritting your broken teeth. You don't fall. You stabilize. But the pain is blinding. You have to shift the load. Without setting the baskets down, you slide the smooth, blood-stained bamboo pole from your right shoulder to your left. The skin there is already raw and weeping. This is the anatomical cost of sulfur. Your spine is permanently curved. Your legs are bowed. Your joints are ground into fine powder over the years. You are sacrificing your body, bone by bone, for a few dollars. You push through the agony, one agonizing step after another. Your lungs whistle with every breath. Finally, the ground levels out. You hit the crater rim. The toxic yellow cloud is left below. You drop the heavy baskets onto the dirt and collapse beside them. Pure, cold oxygen rushes into your lungs. You survived the pit. But don't smile yet. Look down the mountain. The weighing station is still 2 miles away, and gravity is about to become your worst enemy. You think going downhill is a relief? You are dead wrong. It is a slow, agonizing execution for your knees. The 2-mile path to the weighing station is a steep, slippery chute of loose volcanic ash. You pick up the 200 pounds of sulfur again. The bamboo pole settles back into the bloody groove on your shoulder. You start the descent. Gravity wants to pull you down fast. You have to fight it with every step, acting as a human brake. Your thigh muscles scream as they absorb the shock of 200 pounds crashing down on your fragile joints. Step, slide, catch your balance. If you trip now, the heavy baskets will roll over you and crush your spine on the rocks. Your toes jam into the front of your cheap rubber boots, turning your toenails black and dead. Some of your friends don't even have boots. They do this barefoot, their soles turned into thick, cracked leather. The bamboo pole acts like a rhythmic saw, cutting deeper into your flesh with every agonizing bounce. You bite your lip so hard it bleeds, just to distract your brain from the searing pain in your lower back. A tourist steps directly into your path. He wants a close-up picture of the authentic, suffering miner. He smiles, takes the shot with a flash, and hands you a single, crumpled dollar bill. You take it. Pride died a long time ago on this mountain, but your legs are shaking uncontrollably. The ash is giving way under your boots. You are losing control of the descent. Your rubber boot hits a slick patch of wet clay hidden under the ash. Friction vanishes. Your left leg shoots out from under you. You hit the ground hard. The heavy bamboo pole slams into your neck, nearly snapping your collarbone. The baskets hit the jagged rocks and flip. Disaster. 200 pounds of solid yellow sulfur shatter into 1,000 pieces across the steep trail. Your chest heaves as you lie in the dirt, gasping for the air that was just knocked out of your lungs. Your raw shoulder is throbbing, smeared with gray mud and fresh red blood. But you don't have time to cry. You don't have time to lie there and wait for a medic. There is no rescue team coming for you on this mountain. Every dropped rock is food stolen from your children's mouths. You drag yourself up to your knees, ignoring the sharp pain radiating down your spine. Your bare hands scrape against the sharp volcanic glass as you desperately scoop the heavy sulfur chunks back into the bamboo baskets. You are literally picking up your broken salary from the dirt piece by piece. You load the last yellow rock, groaning as you force the bamboo back onto your bleeding shoulder. The pain is blinding, but you keep moving. You finally reach the weighing station at the base of the volcano. The rusty mechanical scale is waiting. The moment of truth. How much is your agony actually worth? You stumble into the weighing station. Your legs are numb. You drop the bamboo baskets onto the rusted iron scale. Clang! The sound of 200 pounds of sulfur hitting the metal is the only music you want to hear. The weigher slides the heavy iron counterweight along the rusty beam. It stops at 85 kilograms. You lost 5 kilos in the fall. That is food off your family's table. He writes a number on a dirty piece of paper and hands you the cash. Let's do the brutal math of your suffering. The company pays you about 8 cents per kilogram. You just risked your life, destroyed your lungs, and crushed your spine for exactly $6.80. You look at the crumpled, dirty Indonesian rupiah notes in your calloused, bleeding hand. $6. A tourist standing next to you just spent that much on a bottle of imported water. But you don't have time to feel sorry for yourself. You wipe the sweat and volcanic ash from your eyes. You buy a single cheap cigarette, light it up, and take a deep drag. Your damaged lungs burn, but the nicotine numbs the pain in your shoulder. You look back up at the smoking peak of Mount Ijen. The toxic yellow cloud is waiting. Because $6 isn't enough to survive the week. You pick up your empty bamboo baskets. You are going back to hell, right now. Your body screams no, but your empty pockets scream louder. You start the second climb. The sun is fully up now. The freezing night air is gone, replaced by a suffocating, humid heat. You are climbing back into a frying pan. Your empty bamboo baskets bounce lightly against your bruised ribs, a cruel reminder of the crushing weight that will soon return. Your lungs haven't recovered. Every breath feels like drawing sandpaper across your chest. The acid from the first trip is still eating away at your tooth enamel. You spit, and it is brown. Your muscles are trembling, completely drained of glycogen. You are running on pure survival instinct and cheap nicotine. The tourists are gone now. They got their sunrise photos and went back to their luxury hotels for a buffet breakfast. You are alone on the mountain with the other ghosts of Ijen, the silent men with bent spines and hollow eyes. You share a nod with an old miner passing by. He looks 60, but you know he is only 35. That is your future looking right back at you. You push through the exhaustion and finally reach the crater lip for the second time today. You look down into the toxic blue lake. But something is wrong. The wind has died completely. The crater is dead silent, and a massive, unnatural bubble is rising from the very center of the boiling acid lake. The bubble bursts. It doesn't splash, it explodes with a deep, terrifying rumble. A massive, concentrated dome of pure toxic gas erupts from the bottom of the acid lake. Without wind to disperse it, the heavy yellow death cloud rolls across the water like a silent avalanche. It is heading straight for the extraction zone. Panic hits the crater floor. The silent, broken men around you suddenly drop their heavy crowbars. Clang, clang. They are scrambling up the steep cliffs like frightened animals. You need to run too, but your legs are completely dead from the first trip. The toxic cloud is moving faster than any human can climb. It swallows the lower vents in seconds. The air pressure drops. The smell of rotten eggs becomes so thick you can actually taste the sulfur coating your tongue like battery paste. You frantically pull the dirty rag over your mouth, but the intense heat has baked it completely dry. It offers zero protection now. You are trapped on the narrow, crumbling cliff edge. The dense yellow wall of gas hits you like a physical punch to the chest. Your vision goes completely white. Your lungs lock up in sheer panic. You are drowning in the open air. And your heart is beating so fast it is about to explode. Total sensory deprivation. You can't see the sky. You can't see the rocks. You can only feel the burning. The sulfur dioxide rips through your nasal passages like a blowtorch. Your brain sends a frantic signal. Breathe. But your throat physically clamps shut. A survival reflex. Your body refuses to let the poison in, but it is starving for oxygen. You fall hard onto your hands and knees. The sharp volcanic glass slices your palms open. You don't even feel the cuts. You press your face directly into the toxic dirt. You are looking for a tiny pocket of clean air hiding in the cracks of the earth. There is none. Your chest heaves in violent, dry spasms. Black spots dance in your white-out vision. You are seconds away from passing out. If you lose consciousness here, you will never wake up. The acid fog will literally dissolve your lungs while you sleep. You have to move. You blindly reach out with a bleeding hand. You grab a jagged rock. You pull your heavy, dying body upward. 1 inch, 2 inches. The mountain is trying to swallow you whole. And then, through the deafening hiss of the gas, you hear a sound that makes your blood run cold. A dull, violent rumble echoes through the blinding white fog. Crack, thud, smash. It is the sound of the mountain tearing itself apart. The panicked miners scrambling above you have triggered a massive rock slide on the fragile crater wall. You can't see the boulders tearing down the invisible slope. You can only feel the sheer cliff vibrating beneath your bleeding palms. Death is rolling straight toward you at 50 miles an hour. You have a split second to react. You press your entire body flat against the burning rock, digging your broken fingernails into the ash. You hold your breath and squeeze your eyes shut. Whoosh. A jagged boulder the size of a car flies past your head, missing your skull by mere inches. It crashes into the acid lake below with a sickening hiss. The violent rush of air actually blows a temporary hole in the toxic cloud. You gasp. One precious, ragged breath of oxygen floods your starved lungs. You open your eyes. You survived the falling rock. But your relief lasts exactly 1 second. You look up at the cliff face. The rock slide didn't just miss you, it completely wiped out the narrow path above. There are no handholds left. Just a sheer, vertical wall of smooth, crumbling ash. You are stranded on a tiny ledge in an ocean of returning acid gas. How are you going to climb out of your own grave? You are trapped. A sheer drop into a boiling acid lake is right beneath your heels. The toxic yellow fog is closing back in like a tightening noose. You look at the smooth wall of crushed ash above you. There is no trail left, no ropes, just a vertical grave. If you wait for a rescue team, your lungs will literally turn to liquid. You have to climb. You slam your bare, bleeding hands directly into the volcanic crust. The rock is hot, baking your torn palms. You kick the toe of your cheap rubber boot into the wall, trying to carve out a tiny step. The ash crumbles. You slip down an inch. Panic is a luxury you cannot afford right now. You punch the rock again, harder. Your knuckles split wide open. Hot blood mixes with the yellow sulfur dust, creating a dark, sticky cement on your skin. You pull your dead weight up, one agonizing foot at a time. Your shredded shoulders are screaming in pure agony. You are free climbing the glowing mouth of a volcano with zero safety gear and zero oxygen. You reach up blindly for the next handhold. Your trembling fingers hook onto a heavy, jagged stone jutting out of the ash. You smile through the blood and pull your body up. But the rock isn't solid. You hear a sharp, terrifying crack. The stone breaks completely loose from the wall. You are suddenly hanging by one bloody hand, suspended over the deadly acid abyss. Gravity wins. The jagged rock crumbles into dust. You are falling backward into the toxic abyss. Time slows down to a crawl. You can actually feel the blistering heat of the acid lake rising up to swallow you. This is it, the end of the line. But your survival instinct refuses to die. In a blind panic, you swing your free arm like a whip. You smash your bare elbow straight into a narrow crack in the volcanic glass. Crunch. You hear your own bone crack, but it wedges tight. The fall stops with a violent, agonizing jerk. You are hanging by a broken, bleeding joint over a boiling cauldron. You scream, but the acid gas chokes the sound in your throat. You kick your rubber boots wildly against the cliff, finding a tiny groove. You push up with everything you have left. Your shredded muscles tear. You drag your battered body over the sharp rim and collapse onto the flat ground of the upper crater. You did it. You crawled out of the grave. You are lying in the dirt, gasping for pure, sweet oxygen. But as the adrenaline fades, a sickening realization hits your gut. You look down at your empty, bleeding hands, your bamboo baskets, your sulfur, your entire livelihood. They are gone. You left them at the bottom. You just survived hell, but you didn't make a single penny. You are completely broke and physically destroyed. What now?